Not me stressed about how I'm gonna get the cameras set up tomorrow, so I recreate it in the only animation software I know, that being Minimator, the program for children to make Minecraft animations.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first video recorded episode of And They Were Classmates.
Oh my god, they were classmates.
I am Jesselyn. I'm the one with bangs.
And I'm Nolan. I'm the one without bangs.
She's the one with curly hair. We'll go with that.
we have to resist the urge to like talk into the camera and do what we've been doing.
Yeah.
It looks like really unnatural if we're both like,
Hi, guys.
So then this part of my story is where I do the thing.
Yeah.
And
I'm making solid eye contact directly with the camera the way that you're not supposed to.
Right.
Anyway.
So we have to relearn.
We have to lock in.
Relearn,
We have to lock in.
Do not jim the camera.
Only when necessary for the bit or when engaging the audience so that they subscribe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so this is our first week back after my solo episode.
It's true.
Which,
it was a good one.
Yeah, Nolan is very kind and does all of our editing for me.
So I do. And I actually listened to it like in my shower.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, you were like
I'll
treating
throw
it
on
like
an episode.
Yeah, I'll check it out, you know.
Yeah. And so it made editing really easy because I'm like, well, I've already proofread it. Because one thing I hate is like reviewing stuff like in like the video editor.
Mm-hmm.
I hate like going in and I don't watch the entire episode before I put it out.
Mm-hmm.
I put the transcript through AI and I say, are there any personal details? And it's like, well, you mentioned the name Jess, so
I think my favorite was when you were trying so hard to get it to listen to, was it 2 weeks ago? Like when we were telling stories, and it kept just like being half right about what we were talking about, but it couldn't figure out which one of us was talking at any given moment. And
it wouldn't go past like 57 minutes.
Yeah.
It'd be like the last chapter, finale, 57:55. And I'm like, so wait, if you, and I would say, I always love walking AI through its mistakes. I'm like, oh, so if you read the transcript, what is like the last thing they talk about? And it's like, oh, the last thing they talk about is the Jay Schlatt Anthony Padilla interview. And I'm like, oh, okay, so is that a chapter? And it's like, yeah, I can make that a chapter. 57:55, Jay Schlatt Anthony Padilla. And I'm like, nope.
You're welcome. See, this is just further proof that AI while it might be the future, it's not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it scares me that we trust it as much as it does when we can't get it to read.
Yeah. There was a person at OpenAI that said like, hey, we try to act like we're so advanced, but like GPT-4o, that's like the best we got.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing much better than that.
No, I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize about AI is that it can only take you so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like, I feel like a lot of people just kind of started using it for like writing, and they were like, yeah, this is what AI is for. It's like great, and like using it to generate images, and it's like, yeah, it's okay at doing that, and it is learning and getting better, but it's very clearly plateauing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't think I might be biased because I just read I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which is explicitly a dystopian short story about an AI that takes over the world and then keeps like 4 humans alive just to watch them suffer. But but I'm not a huge fan of AI. Yeah. But I'm also,
Well, and they keep saying like, oh, it's gonna go exponential. Get ready.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's just never done. I mean, like technically it does. It's like, wow, GPT-4o outperforms 3.5, but it's like, what are we even talking about?
It you know what it reminds me a lot of? It reminds me a lot of like the console wars when I was a kid versus now.
Right.
Because I remember when I was a kid, it was like, oh, like we're so much newer now. Like, we've got it. Like we're making it look so real and everything. And now we made everything look like a pretty picture. Mm-hmm. So now like we can't really go up in graphics, and like that's why everyone's like 120. Your brain can't even process 120 FPS.
Right.
I need you to be so for real with me right now. Like the human brain can only I think the human brain processes up to 60 FPS.
Right.
But once you get past that, we can't really tell the difference.
We can tell it's smoother, but not really like.
Yeah, but it's not like the jump between like 35 and 60 FPS. Mm-hmm. Like that's an entirely separate like, and that's and that's why Nintendo is currently kicking Xbox, and PS5 is currently kicking the Xbox and the PS5's ass.
Right.
Because Nintendo gave up on trying to do all that, and they focused on making good, fun games. Yeah. And now everyone's all excited for all of the peak they announced at the Nintendo Direct. They were like, we're not going to announce anything. No Switch 2, no Switch 2. I was like, okay. And then they announced peak
Right.
After peak.
They're like, hey,
after peak. They were like
remember Mario and Luigi?
Yeah, they're like new Mario and Luigi
back.
game. You guys have been begging for a Legend of Zelda game featuring Zelda for the last 20 years?
Okay.
Look what we got for you. And also, Metroid Prime 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got that for you. No major announcements though.
Well, I hated how they specifically said, like, hey, by the way, next Direct, like, there's no Switch 2. And people were still like, I don't know, bro. They might, hey, this might be the one. It's like,
Average Nintendo fans. I'm so guilty of that, though.
Yeah.
I am like a Nintendo fan team. Oh, you guys get to see your water bottles for the first time, too.
It's true.
You get to see that I'm an Awala head. Truly. Awala free sip gang for life, dude.
And someone got me this. No, I bought one of these in July of 2021. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just find a brand and you're like, okay, till we die.
That's
till we die, Iron Flask, till we die.
Dude, I hadn't found like a water bottle. This sounds like an ad. I hadn't found a water bottle brand for me until I found Awala. Please sponsor us. No, but
Use code Classmates50 to get
I
50% off.
If we could ever get sponsored by Awala, I would be so happy, dude.
Someday.
Awala is my Stanley, except I only have one and I'm normal about it.
They're selling Stanleys on Temu now, like official. Like it's like Stanley official on Temu.
Well, I mean, they do have the same amount of lead in both. So.
Right.
That's why, I initially thought about getting a Stanley, and then right after I told my boyfriend I was thinking about it, it came out about, the lead thing, and I was like, oh, and then I kept seeing ads where it was like, oh, Walla, we don't use lead.
Right. You earned that.
I was like, yeah, I'll check. Yeah, and I teach the kids, and there's one of the families that I teach, all the kids have, the kids free sips, which are like this, but, half as tall, and they're so adorable. Mm. But I remember I was so jealous, legitimately, watching this, 6-year-old have the stupid, straw in the mouthpiece thing. I was like... And that's how you can tell I drink a lot of water, is that I actually, am amazed by water bottles. I only drink water. I drink water, milk, lemonade, and sweet tea, and fruit punch.
Yeah.
That's it.
I cut off soda June 2019. And I just never need it. I read an article in Apple News or something that was like, I quit soda for a month and here's what happened. And I'm like, because at the time I was only 2019, I was 14, 15. Yeah.
I graduated high school in 2019.
Yeah. But I was like, since you're so young, sometimes it's really easy to cut out habits like that young. And so I was like, I can do it for a month. And then I did it for the month, and then I was like, I can do this for longer, and then now it's not even an endurance thing. I think I'll go another 4 years.
You just don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I just never really got into soda. I was one of those kids that my house, even though we had soda around, the only soda that was regularly drank in my house when I was growing up was Diet Coke. Mm-hmm. And, when you're a kid, Diet Coke kind of sucks.
Yeah. So
I just kind of never really got into soda. And now, I reached past the point where you can, teach your body to handle soda. So now, even though I love a Dr. Pepper. A one single fountain Dr. Pepper. Yeah. Because if I do anything after that, my stomach hurts. Mm-hmm. and I drink the one Dr. Pepper and I'm already burping hot. You know what I mean? It's...
And it's weird that soda isn't a sweet treat type of thing. It became the norm.
Well, it's kind of a very U.S. thing though. Oh no.
It's okay.
We're still learning.
It's okay.
We're learning how to use all of the fun technology in our space.
I don't know if
turn
that's
the TV off. Hopefully.
My MacBook or it would. It says no signal. Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh god.
Oh no.
Oh no.
There's these two TVs back here, and they keep yapping. Oh god.
Oh my god. Fuck it. We'll leave that one. So in case you can't tell, this isn't our space. We borrow it.
We borrow it.
But with explicit permission, how do I get rid of this menu? I feel, okay, thank God. I'm 80 years old in a room,
I'm the one with the IT certification, and you're the one controlling the devices.
Yeah, I feel like, I feel like, when your coworker, you get a new system at work, and your coworker that's worked there for 20 years is panicking the whole time. Mm. That's how I feel using electronics in 2024. I fully understand why my parents struggled so hard to adapt to touchscreens because I can't do it. I'm 23 years old and I've given up. The new iPhone update, I think is going to kill me. Mm-hmm. iPhone 8, iOS 18 or whatever it is. I think I haven't updated yet.
Oh, it's in September.
Yeah, I know, but I know some people have like the beta for it,
Oh,
like
sure.
yeah.
Dude.
And everyone I know that has it is like, this sucks unless you know exactly what you're doing with it. And I'm like, I'm stupid.
I put the iOS 11 beta on my brother's iPad mini way back in the day. I convinced him into it, and that shit just broke.
Yeah,
like,
no,
eventually it was fine. They released enough stability patches, but dude.
Yeah, no, you could not talk
beta number 1 on the iPad mini 2 did not go crazy. It was.
I had the original iPad mini.
Yeah.
And I remember that it was like, do you want to do the beta? Not recommended for iPad mini.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Which I was like, thank you for offering it, and then immediately telling me, do not. like you can. That's a choice you can make.
I like the whole notion that Apple hasn't really figured out like what the iPad is for in today's day and age, other than like iPad kids, because it's like kind of trying to be a MacBook, but it can't really fully run Mac OS. But they're like adding these like windows and split screens and those types of things. It's
because so many people now, if they don't want their iPads for their kids, they want it to be a computer for them.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, you're still in college. Like the Apple ecosystem that half these girls walk into class with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm fully like, I am one of those girls. I have the Apple ecosystem. I have my iPhone,
mm-hmm.
my MacBook Air,
mm-hmm.
my Apple Watch. It's reading my BPM right now. Get out of here.
Yeah.
You guys don't need to know my BPM. Okay, that's
we
mine.
Blur it. You like turn it.
Yeah, it's like no, but like and I use AirPods. Like the only thing I don't have at this point is an Apple Pencil and an iPad still, because
right.
I gave my iPad mini to my boyfriend 5 years ago, something like that, because he was having problems with his phone, so he just needed something. I was like, here, use this so you can still message people on Facebook. And it was like, yeah, cool. And now it's in one of his boxes somewhere, because I didn't need it after that. Like at that point I wasn't using my iPad. That was why I gave it to him. So because I got that iPad instead of an iPhone, like when I was a kid, and I still had a flip phone. Like, to age me, my first phone was a flip phone. I got an iPad because my dad didn't want me to have the first iPhone.
And my first phone was an iPhone 6.
Oh my God. I need to tell you this. My first iPhone was an iPhone 5S, right? Okay. I got an iPhone 5S when I was in 8th grade. Uh-huh. And I had that iPhone 5S until my sophomore year of college.
Wow. That's crazy.
And the only reason I switched was because I did technically have to get one new one in that time. Because, you know, I just dropped my phone enough. You know, I was in like swim, and I was doing sports, and I was doing theater. So, you know, eventually my phone got dropped onto concrete and it shattered. So I needed a new one. And when I did, I was like, can I get another iPhone 5S? And they were like, the first time they're like, yeah, we have them still. And then the second time they're like, we haven't produced those in like years. And I was like, oh, like what's the current? I was like, oh, then what do you have? And they're like, right now we're on the iPhone XR is our like model. I was like, oh. So I had that for a while, and then I just upgraded like a couple years ago to the 13 mini. Maybe. I think it's a 13 mini. 13 one of the minis, because I wanted a small phone again.
The minis are cool. People like the minis.
I feel like, because I had that XR for so long, and it was so hard to fit into things. Like I couldn't fit them in. It was
just too big.
Yeah, it was too big. It wouldn't go into my pockets. I have tiny little girl pockets, and I wear exclusively skinny jeans. Yeah. So I can't go and buy like men's jeans for the better pockets. I also can't, because I have a hip to waist ratio that is entirely too feminine for men's jeans. Because I tried it once and they fell off my body. Oh, right. Because anything that fit over my hips just didn't fit over didn't hold my waist, and it wouldn't stay up. But anything that was on my waist wouldn't go over my hips. I have the same problem with women's jeans, to be fair. It's just worse don't worry about it. It's just worse with men's jeans, because it's like straight cut instead of, you know, made to hold an ass. And unfortunately, I have an ass that won't quit. What can I say?
But I had an iPhone XR. Those were crazy. I kind of liked it.
I liked it a lot. I only replaced it when it stopped working.
It was like, there's this Apple concept of like they walk you up the price ladder, because initially my brother and I had iPhone 6s, and then we were looking to replace them in around 2019. And so the latest like iPhone number I think was still the 8, but they also had the XR. My dad had an iPhone X, not 10. Go away. My dad had an iPhone X, and I thought it was really cool. It was the most futuristic thing at the time. It's there's no home button, scans your face. And so,
dude, I felt like I was jumping into the fucking future, going from an iPhone 5S to the XR. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. But so then we wanted to upgrade to the 8 because we thought it was like all cool. And then my dad's checking the website and he's like, well, we can also do the XR. Like it'd be like basically the same price. And we're like, really? Yeah. So we both had a matching iPhone X. Well, mine was the red one.
I had the blue one.
Well, no, AIDS.
See, I had the blue one because I didn't.
Counterpoint, AIDS.
Counterpoint.
Counterpoint, product red, AIDS.
No, I got the blue one because the only ones they had when I went to buy mine, like in store, because I needed one that day, because I went in because my iPhone 5S was doing that thing where you hold it up and it's like half pink.
Yeah.
And like you can still tap on it and use it, but you can't see anything. Like the screen turns up like, and I'd been dealing with that for like a week when my dad was like, "Do you need a new phone?" I was like, "No, I can still use it." He's like,
yeah.
He was like, "How's my 15-year-old daughter this?" Well, I guess I wasn't 15. I was a little older. He's like, "How's my consumer 2O's daughter who's because I constantly am shopping and buying stuff like, but I don't care about keeping up to date with electronics. I just want them to work because half the time I upgrade and then I hate it because I become like immediately boomer pilled and I'm like, why isn't it?" Like when I got a MacBook for the first time, I got my MacBook for college. Because my laptop at that point was a gaming laptop, so I couldn't carry that around. I was not going to carry around the Acer Nitro 4, mind you.
Use code Classmates50.
Yeah, use code Classmates50 for the 8. No, but I say that because it's like it was one that at the time was like the gaming laptop. It's that one that has like it's like that, you know? Like I'm old.
I can understand the shape you're drawing.
I was
don't
gonna
know what
say,
laptop
that
that's
was
referring to.
That was a big thing. I have to remember how much younger than you were. Yeah. That's the problem. Because I got that in high school. So you would have been in middle school.
Yeah.
Weren't exactly keeping track of gaming laptops at that point, I'm guessing.
Nope.
But I have that one. And it's impossible to carry around regularly. Like, especially as like a freshman who had a lot of books in my bag because I was taking a lot of gen ed still and I still needed my textbooks because I genuinely feel like the further you get in, the less you need the test books beyond doing explicit readings. But I was doing that. And so my dad and I went, and when we went to Best Buy, they were like, well, we could do a MacBook or a Windows. And I was like, well, I'm interested in Mac because because at that point, I had my iPhone and that was it. But I was like, I want to be able to have like the communication between the two. And so when we did that, I got my MacBook Air for the first time. And then I spent 4 months, like the 3 months, because I got that in like June as part of my graduation present from high school. And then I started college in that September, obviously. And I spent that like entire 3 months learning the Mac OS because I'd never had like a Mac computer. I'd only had, iPhone, iPad. And getting used to that from Windows was hell.
Yeah, it's like you're trying to drag the window up to the top, and it's like, nope, press this small green button.
Yeah, and
don't miss it.
Yeah, and then it's like
press the yellow one.
Yeah, and it's like, and also if you go full screen, you don't have access to any of your apps down there. Like it's.
And sometimes when you go into the little bar down there, sometimes it just won't pop up.
Yeah, and it was really frustrating at first, but now like I've gotten so used to it that once I figured out how to use the Finder, I was good.
Yeah.
Like legitimately. Like once I could go through and just find my like all of my stuff by searching it, I was like, yeah, there we go. I can do that.
Once I'm on a Windows Explorer level with Finder.
Exactly.
Gold.
I thought it was funny. I was getting so frustrated that one of my friends offered to like wipe my Mac and put Windows OS on it for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I refuse to give up. And I'm glad I didn't because now I like using Mac because now that I've learned how to use a lot of its multitasking features better, like I loved using that, using their like two picture, like when you can basically have two monitors on your one desktop. I loved using that for like writing a paper and then like while I was watching a movie. Because, when you're taking film classes, you constantly need to so it was so much easier for me to have those two separate windows than it was for me to have them both on the same desktop window, if that makes sense. Because then, like, I wasn't it was way harder for me to mess it up. I had to idiot-proof my computer for myself. But once I did, it worked great.
Mine was when you swipe up with the 3 fingers and it shows you every window.
Oh, yeah?
I love that one.
That one, I always forget about a lot of the shortcuts. I end up doing it the long way most of the time, which I've actually gotten cooked for in class by like classes. Like, why do you do it that way? You could just swipe up with 3. And I'm like,
right. It's like hold your thumb on spacebar and swipe up with your pinky.
Yeah, it's like I don't I don't have the ability to remember that many shortcuts. Like I'm just physically...
You use all 4 of your fingers and you pinch down from the trackpad.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm trying to please a woman sometimes, trying to open up a tab. I'm like, you gotta put one finger here, got one here. You gotta recite the incantation while you do it. Two in the pink, one in the same. Sorry, I make myself laugh.
Yeah.
No, but it was just so learning how to use Mac really like endeared me to having to teach my grandma like phones though, because I don't know why my grandma. Well, I get my grandma didn't do it. My aunt did. My aunt bought my aunt bought my grandma an iPhone. I think she also had an XR. I think she also has an XR. She still has it. But she went from a flip phone to that.
Ooh, yeah.
Fun fact about my grandmother, she can't use the remote for a TV and she's never used a computer.
Right. Yeah, how...
So all of us, and it was really funny because then Bonnie went, well, you guys can teach her. And I had to look at her and be like, Bonnie, I am the only person in this house with an iPhone.
Yeah.
I am one of 2 people in this house with a touchscreen phone because my uncle didn't have a touchscreen, because my uncle didn't have a touchscreen phone until this last year because they stopped, like US Cellular called him and were like, we can't keep, you need to come in and buy a new phone. And they were like, why? And he was like, why? And they were like, oh, we're taking down the 3G cell towers. Because he'd had his phone for so long, he still had 3G.
And exclusively 3G.
Yeah, he couldn't receive pictures. You had to pay extra for pictures. He was still paying for minutes. He had unlimited talk. He was paying for texts. Like it was insane amounts of like avoiding that. And I thought it was really funny. The week before he got his new phone, he looked at like me and my dad and Ace all like sitting in the living room, and we're all just sitting there like scrolling, whatever, while he's watching TV. And and he looks around and he looks at all of us and he goes, I hope I don't become like you guys, like once I have a phone. And you know what he does every single day as soon as he gets home from work?
Yep. You gotta rot. You gotta scroll.
He doesn't have social media, mind you.
What is he doing? Looking at like family photos?
Facebook Reels.
Oh.
No, it's not like it's really funny because I'll hear stuff and I'll look over and he's like scrolling through Reddit. He's like swiping through, but he's like using like the video function on Reddit. So he's actually like, the one that literally no one uses.
Yeah.
I was like, how did you get here?
Yeah.
How is this? And I'm frankly horrified.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It does mean that I get more time with the TV because now he uses the TV as background noise a lot more instead of it being active. So he's a lot more willing to like, if you go into the living room and you're like, hey, can I have the TV? He'll be like, yeah, because he's on his phone anyway. He doesn't care whether it's Fortnite or whatever on the TV. Yeah. So, but it was really funny how quickly like he was like, I'm not gonna be like you guys, and then immediately became worse than any of us because he like. I only say he's worse than us because none of us turn on the TV for background noise to use our phones the way that he does.
Right.
But I respect why he does it because I do something very similar where I'll like watch a YouTube video but also be like scrolling Twitter or whatever. Like because I have not to be that guy, I have YouTube Premium and I've had it since it was called YouTube Red.
Yeah.
I got like literally when it dropped, I bought YouTube Red.
You're like, I'm watching Scare PewDiePie.
Yeah, dude, I was like, I don't want my ads in my PewDiePie videos. Like legitimately.
It is crazy. It is a big investment. In the age where they're stringing like 4 ads sometimes. People are like, I got 6 ads in a row. I'm like, that's happening.
Yeah,
I love you. YouTube Premium is the best investment ever.
No, and it's
it can
really
replace
funny.
All your streaming services.
Legitimately.
You just
if you can only get one streaming service, I would legitimately recommend YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium or Dropout. I love Dropout. I've been watching it so much. No, but I love
Nebula. Use code classmates to watch our content early.
Oh my god, I don't think Nebula would ever accept us. We have
a show where we tackle different problems.
Yeah, problems that only affect us.
Yeah.
No, but I love YouTube Premium. I thought it was so funny. My boyfriend had to teach me all of the ways to avoid ads on YouTube when I started going over to his house because he doesn't, and he watches YouTube like on his PS4 and whatever. And we'd get like 3 ads in a row and he'd be like, oh, like, and there's like a trick that I didn't know. I think it doesn't work anymore, but it did for a long time where there was a trick where if it didn't give you skip ad you could go into the settings and say like, don't show me this ad again, or I'm not interested. And it would skip the ad and then it wouldn't show you the ad again.
What happens there is YouTube catches on.
Exactly.
I think new accounts, they still let you. But once they figure out that you're using that like a loophole and you're not actually offended, they're like, okay.
Yeah, they put a because it was a thing that you could do for like years. And then they started putting patches in for it recently as they've started rolling out more and more ads. Like the more ads they put in, the more patches they put for the ways to skip ads, which is...
And ad block.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going to be so real with you. I completely deleted ad block off my... It's so useless now. Everyone knows what ad block... You block Origin, though? The GOAT. I'm being so for real.
Yeah. They're testing. You gotta get YouTube Premium. You guys gotta get on this. They're testing ways to like embed the ad in the video and like lengthen the video's time with the ad in the beginning, so that ad blockers can't really detect it.
You're shitting me.
No, they're testing it. I don't know if they'll go through with it.
I think HBO Max does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's one thing to do with like a stream. Like HBO Max does it because they show like a commercial for something new on their streaming service before like, because it's just kind of ingrained in the first part. I noticed it when I was watching Smiling Friends. Like they'll just kind of, you can skip the ad that like play, because we have the cheapest version of HBO Max right now because we weren't using it. Well, because we get it for free from our cable, so I don't complain too much about having some ads on there, because I'm like, I'd have ads if I was watching it on demand anyway. Like it's the same style of ads, so I'm fine. But it threw us off a lot when we would like not have ads, but then there would just be like, it'd be like, oh, the rest of the thing is here, but there's an ad right at the beginning, and we were like, oh. But it was also funny because when we were watching, it was right after Smiling Friends started, so all the ads were for Smiling Friends, so we didn't notice it at first.
Oh yeah.
Because it was the most recent drop, so it was like, oh, like the Smiling Friends Mondays at midnight, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. And then the episode started, we're like, oh, like yeah. But then it turned into House of the Dragon, and we're like, what? Because at first I legitimately thought I had just accidentally clicked the wrong one. It might not have been House of the Dragon. It was something like that. One of their like in-house like. They're so proud of it. I know
which one you're talking about. Like I've seen it. There's like a woman standing on this side, and there's like a bunch of shit.
And it might be House of the Dragon, but it might be something else. I don't know. I never watched Game of Thrones, so I didn't.
Like that. One of those weird dragon shows.
I kind of see the problem now is that I wish I had watched Game of Thrones, but I'm glad I didn't, because I was like a kid when it came out, so my parents didn't let me watch it. Right, like when Game of Thrones first started in like 2010. Something like that. Or no, it might have been later, like 2012.
I was 5 in 2010.
But yeah, no, I was like, 12. So my dad didn't want me watching Game of Thrones that's all like, killing, raping, and pillaging and sex and violence and all that. And I was like,
Starbucks cups.
Yeah, and Starbucks cups. And I was like, that's fair. But by the time I became old enough to be like interested in it and wanting to watch it from the beginning was when the final season aired.
Yeah.
And now I know that like with how everyone talks about it, I'm like, I don't know if I can watch the beginning knowing how badly it's going to end.
If they just say the payoff is that bad, it's like,
no, because no one I know liked that ending. I've never heard a single positive thing about the Game of Thrones ending, and I'm not even kidding. And that's saying something, because I hang out in like D&D circles and like I go to Renaissance fairs and hang out with Renaissance fair people, and all of them like there's so many jokes at Renaissance fairs about how you can't like, I know at Bristol specifically there were a couple of guys that were running like, they have like little games you can play, like pay $5 to try to climb up the Jacob's Ladder carnival game, that type of thing, but like themed, so it's actually nice. And one of the guys was like, $5 for try out Jacob's Ladder. Your ending can't be as bad as Game of Thrones.
Right.
Like it's a part of the brand now that the game, like that original ending was so bad that they had to make House of the Dragon.
Right.
So I don't know, but I'm also someone that really enjoys like I went so long being like, I refuse to watch anything popular like in high school, that now as like an adult I love consuming popular media.
Right. I'm getting like that too.
I need to catch up on Bridgerton. That's what I need to do. I watched the first season when it came out, and then I haven't watched any since, but I know everything that happens because they've all shown up on my For You page.
Right.
So, because that's legitimately why I didn't watch the second season, was because I was scrolling through TikTok and I got the entire storyline within like 3 hours of the series going up. And I was like, oh, okay. Like,
all reminds me. I was up till 1:40 a.m. last night.
You were up later than 1:40 a.m. You texted me at 2 a.m. with them.
Oh yeah, because then I shot awake in the middle of the night, remembering that you wanted this graphic.
You woke
formerly up. This graphic.
Yeah, formerly this graphic. Now this graphic because
I
we need
shot
to figure
awake
out the TVs.
like, oh god, because I'm not gonna have time to do it tomorrow morning. I'm like
woke up in a cold sweat.
A mania.
Yeah.
Things we do for content. But anyway, I was watching this long video about all of Sydney Sweeney's lies, and it's like weird. She'll like be like, yeah, I grew up in this little town in like North California, or like between like Washington and Idaho or something. And then but she like moved to LA when she was like 13. And she went to like this like fancy like LA private school. She missed like
that's how I feel.
Over
people
100
talk about Taylor
days.
Swift.
She missed over 100 days of one school year just like doing auditions and shit. But she acts like she's like all like this like humble, like, oh, I could barely land anything. I was driving to LA 19 hours just to make an audition, and it's just all fake. And she's like, yeah, I used to be a Universal tour guide, and the person making the video like got some contact at Universal. It's like, no, she just like helped like costume like dress up, and the person walking around with the costume helping them get shit, and only for 2 months. And she acted like, yeah, it was my high school job, I was a Universal tour guide. And it's just like weird.
That's such like a weird thing to lie about too.
And her around the time of Anyone But You's release or like filming, there was like this stuff is like, oh, is something going on with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell? And then because of all that, well, maybe separate reasons, Glenn Powell and his girlfriend break up. And he, like afterwards, he's kind of like, yeah, that was mostly Sydney Sweeney that wanted to do the whole like being like a couple and like there being drama. Like that was all her idea. Like she was able to get into it much easier than I was.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that because I was keeping up with the Glenn Powell thing at least like a little. Not because I was super interested in it, but just because I was like, finally, some good like celebrity rom-com drama. It's been so long since we've because I'm sure I was the exact person that Sydney was trying to attract with that idea, because my brain was like, finally, 2 co-stars leaving their husbands for each other for the first time in like 10 years. Like I remember like being excited. I was like, oh, like I wasn't excited that bad things were happening, but I was kind of like, oh, like finally something interesting is happening.
But it was weird. After all of that, when she hosts SNL, she brings Glenn Powell on and makes a joke like, no, like my co-star and me were not dating. You know, I'm married to my producer. Thank you so much to my producer. And then it cuts to Glenn Powell in the audience after he already expressed that he didn't really fuck with the whole.
Yeah, well, that was probably SNL more than
maybe,
Sydney
but even
specifically,
so, it's just.
Well,
it's
SNL
weird.
is just like SNL's so hit or miss now. Like not to be that guy, because everyone's always like, oh, SNL was better when I was a kid. Like everyone thinks that, but I don't even think that, because I grew up in the early 2000s when there was like 4 good people on SNL, and then they all left at the same time to go make movies that were way better. So, but like, I SNL like ranges so widely from having like really funny, like good political commentary to like Skibbity Biden.
Right.
You remember that?
No.
That was like a thing. My boyfriend was obsessed with it because he thought it was like the end times. Because you have to remember, he's 2 years older than me. He's 25. His frontal cortex is developed. He hates that I reference Skibbity Toilet ever because I think it's funny and stupid.
Yeah.
Like, and he's always like, I don't get it. It's like a sign of the end times, even though he grew up watching MLG compilations.
No,
like you were
Skibbity Toilet is the modern annoying orange.
It is.
Take that home.
That's what I'm saying. I work with kids and I can just recognize. I'm like, oh, that's exactly how I was about like annoying orange and Fred. That's like but
same shit.
But I can also respect why it's also worse, because they just take that in and it's still like less meaningful stimulation, because at least like annoying orange and Fred were like, you know, watching people talking back and forth and like they were moving around and like. But, you know, whatever. We could talk about the developmental effects of Skibbity Toilet and Coco Melon another day. But he was like, SNL made the stupid joke about Skibbity Biden. And he talked about it for like a full week. And I was like, Ace, honey, you are exactly the person they were trying to get with that. And he was like, what? I was like, you know what you're doing right now? Talking about it for an entire week. And the next episode of SNL is this week. He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's exactly what they wanted. Like, but then they also ended like, do you remember were you keeping track of like the Try Guys thing? When that was a thing?
Loosely. Oh, the SNL skit?
Yeah. Because you had, I'm like not, this is embarrassing. I'm a Try Guys OG. I don't really watch them anymore because I've just kind of fallen out of that brand. Like this is gonna sound really bad. It got too millennial for me,
Right.
if that makes sense. Like, because I'm like a cusper, so I enjoy a lot of millennial like geared content. I get made fun of by some of the kids at school. They call me Chuggy. Some of the kids at church call me Chuggy because like I trend towards like millennial stuff. But so I like grew up with like BuzzFeed and the Try Guys, so I was really into them for a really long time. So I thought it was really insane when that SNL thing dropped. And for those who don't know, what happened was the Try Guys were these 4 guys that got together. They started producing content together on BuzzFeed, where they were just like trying stuff. It started with ladies' underwear.
Yeah.
Like it was like trying women's underwear, trying edible underwear was a big one. But it was also stuff like
they did the pregnancy machine.
Yeah, they did like the pregnancy series. They did a fatherhood series where they were connecting with their dads. They've done a lot of stuff where it was like, oh, we try skydiving. They've tried Olympic sports. They once tried drunk driving versus stone driving to see which was worse. Like they've just tried a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because when BuzzFeed started to go down and everyone started jumping the ship and like, what was that, like 2015, I think. I know
I was 10.
I know you're just a wee bab.
Yeah.
But I was spending all of my time on YouTube.
Yeah.
But everyone started. That was kind of when that was when Quinta left, and she left to go and make TV, and she makes Abbott Elementary now. Sophia Nygaard left, and she has her own channel now, and she's hugely she has her own success now. There was this whole other channel they had called Ladylike. Like they ran into a problem where all of these people became popular for their thing. There was Ladylike, there was Try Guys, and there was BuzzFeed Unsolved. And then all 3 of them left to go and make the same content but by themselves.
Yeah.
For better pay. So then the Try Guys started getting kind of big. Like they started bringing in friends and a bunch of stuff. And it reached a point where, the 4 of them are the CEOs and they have all these people working under them. And Ned Fulmer, the wife guy, whose entire brand was loving his wife. I'm not kidding. Loving his wife, loving his 2 kids, is sleeping with their producer, who is younger, who's significant. If I remember, she's significantly younger than him. Not like something insane like 20 years, but something like a 10-year age gap.
Yeah.
She'd been engaged in a long-term relationship for 9 years. He was obviously married with 2 kids at that point. And it was also with someone that was, what's the word? Inferior isn't the word. It's because that's the opposite of superior, but that's not the word I'm looking for. It was his.
I know the word
not
you're
colleague,
looking for too.
not employee, I guess,
No,
but that's not the exact word I'm looking
word
for.
For
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it was his. He was in a position of power as the CEO, and mind you, the HR. He was HR for the company, which was another thing. So even though, everyone has said that it was a very consensual thing, whatever, there's still inherently that power imbalance there. And if it had turned bad, she would have had nowhere to go. Obviously she could have talked to the other producers, but that would have been embarrassing. The person to go to would have been HR. And when he's HR, or at least as it was described to the audience, he was described as filling the HR role at the time. It wasn't great. And then the SNL thing came out with
they dropped the video first.
Yeah, so after everyone found out about Ned and Alex, they dropped a video where it was the 3 of them sitting on a couch. It was the 3 Try Guys, Eugene, Ned, and Keith at the time, sitting on the couch and just being like, we know what happened. We all discussed this as a company. We knew, we were investigating it, and then everything came out before we could do anything about it. Just, making a company statement and basically saying this never should have happened. This was horrible, whatever. And then SNL made a parody of it where it was just, we got mad at our friend for having sex with another woman. And it's no, that's not, that wasn't the issue. The issue, first of all, you shouldn't want to be friends with someone that is willing to betray the people they love that much. I know people who have said oh, I can be friends with you. I could not be a friend to someone who cheated in a situation where it wasn't justifiable.
Sure.
Because I've definitely known people who've done it in a situation where, after I heard, I was like, oh yeah, that is justifiable. They cheated because they were in this horribly abusive relationship and they couldn't leave. So they cheated and it was just out of desperation. And I was like, that's still not great because but you're in a situation where I can understand why there was nothing else you could do, emotionally. You couldn't leave because you're being threatened with leaving. That's just like a thing. And that's where I'm like, yeah, that's like justifiable. But just like cheating on your wife and first of all, ruining their branding, because his whole branding was being the wife guy, and Ariel was a major part of their branding. She was on his wife, Ariel, was one of the people. They had a podcast called You Can Sit With Us. That was just like the partners of the Try Guys, because it was at the time it was Keith's wife, Ned's wife, and I'm trying to remember her name, Maggie, I think. Yeah, Maggie, Zach's girlfriend, now wife. And then Eugene's boyfriend, Matt, would like show up every so often, if I remember right. But I never really listened to that podcast. But it was like all that. So it wasn't just like that. And then they also like, they lost a TV deal because of it. Because they had a cooking deal with Food Network. Because they had Without a Recipe, which was their huge like flagship show for their production company, Second Try. And that got canceled after one season because they didn't, well, all this happened while their first season was airing, and they got moved out of a primetime spot to a middle of the night spot and then canceled because they didn't want to be associated with Ned.
And that's so, because of the SNL or just because of the situation?
It was all because the SNL thing happened within like a week of like, it was all insane because like Rolling Stone picked up on it. It was just like the Try Guy, that was just like the moment that took the Try Guys from being famous on YouTube to the mainstream, and it's really unfortunate that was how it happened.
But it's dangerous when like SNL is able to kind of like warp what they said in the video, and to now everybody who watched the SNL but not the video, they think that's what the video was like.
Yeah. Well, I haven't told you the conspiracy about it. Ned has friends that work on SNL.
So he's like,
he has openly stated that he has friends that are writers on SNL because he met them when he was in college, or he met them while they were still working at BuzzFeed, whatever. So a lot of people were like, maybe the staff that's made up of guys that are kind of like, a lot of them are also like, it's also kind of known like SNL is like a drug haven. Everyone cheats on their wives. Like it's like a thing. It's like, I know a lot of people that are like, yeah, SNL, like you don't go to SNL unless you're ready to do a lot of cocaine and not get married.
Episode 1, John Mulaney.
Yeah, episode 1, John Mulaney. Because I think John actually does credit like his time on SNL as part of the reason why his cocaine addiction was so bad. Because for a very long time,
Seth Meyers was like, you shouldn't be.
Everyone did cocaine on SNL, and you could tell because they're all so excited. But like it's just like, I don't know. It's just really. It was all so weird. And it was especially strange to watch as someone that had watched. Like, I remember when the first Guys Try Women's Underwear video came out. Because that was, like, one of the first videos that came out after I subscribed to the BuzzFeed YouTube channel. Because that was right after they had pivoted towards making that, like, oh, like, people try this for the first time. People do that, like, that style of content that kind of ended up really, like, getting oversaturated and then killing. They oversaturated their own market and then killed it. Yeah. I don't know. I know a lot of like weird random YouTube history just by virtue of being someone that's used YouTube daily since 2009.
Right.
Probably. Like it's a lot. And the worst part is how much of it I absorb by proxy. Like, I don't know. Like, well, like before recording, we were talking about Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah.
At time of recording, this is approximately 24 hours after Dr. Disrespect posted his response to the allegations, shall we call it? That's what he called it? In character still?
Where he edited out, like, the part where he mentions it was a minor, and then
edited it back
in. Because it's like, yeah, what are you doing?
Yeah, for those who don't know, Dr. Disrespect has confirmed, so I don't have to say allegedly. He can't come after me for saying that. He messaged minors inappropriately with Twitch whispers, which I think is the funniest part.
Yeah.
Twitch whispers? And then he admitted to, like, not actually having any intent. He was just like, and I'm like, so you're admitting that you messaged these minors with the intent to lead them on?
Right. No, we were just like, chill.
Yeah, but it just got a little inappropriate.
She was just at least half my age, at least.
Yeah, no, he was like, no, I saw...
You saw the Mogo Mail?
I saw Kai Cenat talking about it. No, because it's stupid. I saw this clip on my For You page because I hate how often I have to say I saw Kai Cenat because I don't watch him. But he keeps showing up on my For You page because every time I see him, I have to be like, I'm him. Because everything he does makes me laugh. But I don't have enough brain rot to actually watch a stream. but I will laugh about that stupid like Elden Ring room that he built for himself. Because if I had that much money, I would do that.
Yeah.
I would 100% be doing that. But he was taking a break from, I'm guessing he was taking a break from his run of the new Elden Ring DLC, because he's been like, I think he has something like almost 1,000 deaths. Like he's recording deaths and how long it's taking him. And that's the only reason why I know it was during that, because I could see like, above and below his little screen.
Yeah.
And he was reading the thing and he was like, what? Yeah. What? And then I thought he was like, you admitted to messaging minors, bro, and you still think that's okay? like I was like, how bad do you have to be in the hole for Kai Cenat to be like, dude?
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy because at first, before he officially made the statement, it was like kind of confusing. It was like there were like he got banned in like 2021.
Oh yeah.
And then for something that happened in 2017, but like the official reason he was banned wasn't for sure. People were like speculating maybe he was talking to Mixer while he was like still on contract with Twitch, so maybe they banned him for that. Then he just came out and said it. After I think the game studio situation is weird. Did you see that?
No, but I just really quick, just because before I forget, because I just remembered my favorite part of the Kai Cenat reaction was him Googling how old Dr. Disrespect was and seeing like his age, and then you could like watch him doing the math in his head, and then he like puts in like a couple more numbers, and you could see him like running numbers in the Google, and he was like, and he just goes, 35! 35!
Right.
And it just made me laugh. I'm glad that we have video, so now I can.
Yeah,
I can make visual gags.
I'll just cut to my reaction.
Just smash cut to you.
Boy, what was I gonna say? Oh, no.
I'm so sorry.
No.
That's exactly what I was trying to avoid.
I don't think
this
happened yet. All right. Hold on. We were talking about. He was talking to minors. 2017 banned Mixer. Oh, Game Studio.
Yeah, we got there.
So the game studio that he co-founded dropped a tweet where they're like, "We are severing ties with Dr. Disrespect." What?
No, I just remembered that he said that it was a mutual thing.
Yeah.
I forgot
So
that.
So the game studio's like, "We are cutting ties," like, and then the other like founder separately, he tweeted, "This is not related to game studio, wink. But if you message a minor like with any intent, I cannot associate with you."
No, I didn't know about that tweet.
Yeah. So he said that. He was like, wink, it's related to nothing.
Apropos of nothing.
But
I keep smacking them.
So anyway, but then Dr. Disrespect goes on stream and he's like, "Yeah, we made the decision. I'm gonna step down." And it's like, that's not how their tweet was phrased.
That's what he said. That's what he said in his thing too. He said that
he's like,
we decided that I would step down
as a team. Decided I can't be here no more.
Dude, I think even in their like press announcement about him leaving, they said that like the three of them had decided that they weren't continuing their relationship.
Exactly.
Like even in the official announcement, it didn't sound like it was mutual.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who Bro thinks he's him.
Yeah. And that's what's weird is like his fan base specifically does not care.
Oh my god!
Like the people who actively watch him like every day and shit, they're like,
dude,
bro, he was framed.
Sneeko's been doing splits and pirouettes on his dick ever since, and I'm not even kidding. Like it's, but makes sense because it's Sneeko.
Mm-hmm.
I thought yesterday, like a couple hours before the allegation, not the allegation. I keep calling them the allegations because that's what they're confirmed. Yeah. But like after it all, like it was starting to pick back up again. Drama Alert put out a thing that was basically like, oh, like all of these alleged things, like people are trying to like, and now everyone in the comments is like alleged, because he was basically just trying to see like, oh, like these allegations aren't real, and everyone in the comments was like, they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
No, I remember what it was. It was that another YouTuber whose name I don't remember off the top of my head had basically been like, yeah, Dr. Disrespect's a pedophile, and then they were getting like made fun of for that. Like they were getting like absolutely clowned on. They were like, oh, well, he's not, like nothing even happened, like whatever. And then within 24 hours of that happening,
he's like, guys,
he's like, actually, I did message those minors.
Happened.
Actually, bad news, guy.
Yeah, tough shit.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I don't know. What is it about like becoming internet famous that suddenly makes you just unable to keep your hands off minors?
It's just access to minors.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm scared of. We can't develop a minor audience.
Never.
We can't.
Get out.
We're already gonna have a rough enough. Sorry, we're already gonna have it rough enough being two queer people. We can't have like.
we're the good ones. We're the good ones.
wink at the camera.
I didn't mean to. It was
gonna,
like unintentional.
Dude, Libs of TikTok is gonna fucking end us. We're gonna get doxxed, and then someone's gonna firebomb our houses. Yeah. I said our house like we live together.
And for Libs of TikTok, we do.
Yeah, Libs of TikTok.
We're in Gamerco, New Mexico.
Yeah. If Libs of TikTok is watching, because we're both two visibly queer people, if you say anything about us, you will be admitting that you know that it's your fault, so you can't say anything about it. But so you can't mention our names.
And you watching Signs the Contract.
Yeah, you watching Signs the Contract. If you have watched our content, and I don't care if you haven't seen this episode. I'm looking at you. If you
and I'm looking at you.
Yeah, if you clip our content and try to dox us and ruin us, that's just admitting that you know that you doxing people is what gets that done, and that means that you're guilty of several federal crimes, so many felonies, for inciting hate speech and hate crimes.
Yep, but X has got free speech.
Yeah,
so.
That's why
everything app.
Yeah, that's why I can say slurs, but I can't say cis. Because if I say cis, then I get
there
muted.
was that thing where it was like, shit.
I can get called a fag on Twitter, but I can't get called cis.
No, someone made a thing
I'm
where
just saying.
I know they did 2 tweets where they were like, I hate like gay people, and then it was like went through, and then it was I hate cis people, and then it got muted. I just realized I never turned that light on. I brought a whole light in here. Yeah. It's just off.
It's fine. We're learning.
Yeah.
We are, cause fun fact to break the fourth wall. We're surrounded by cameras that aren't ours. Literally surrounded.
Yeah. I'm like, excuse me.
There's at least a half dozen cameras in this room that aren't ours, and we have no idea how to operate.
Yeah.
Because this is a multi-use. Oh yeah, you can actually see that one over there. This is actually like a multi-use recording space that is also set up for streaming. Technically, voiceover work,
product reviews. I think he said.
Yeah, that is one thing that he specifically mentioned wanting to be able to do, which is really funny.
Hey, if you want to come in here and review a product, do. And everybody's like,
yeah, well, because I think the reason why he wanted to do that was that he just wanted us to get like the practice of like what a good product is, and like just because that like product reviews I feel like would require a lot more editing than a lot of other content.
Totally.
But that's just me. I don't know. I don't make product reviews. Who am I? I Justine. Oh, that's another ancient reference. I'm sorry.
No, I got that one.
Okay, thank God.
I got that one. Sort of. Never watched her, but I know that name.
I also never watched I Justine, but that was just because I didn't really care about tech reviews, and that was what she kind of started doing.
I'm ready to make a deep cut.
And then
I don't review tech, much like Tech Reviewer.
There you go.
Much unlike Tech Reviewer.
No, but see, I found about I Justine by proxy because I was deep in like the 2012, like the first gen YouTube like sphere and the second gen. Like I've kind of been there for like the rise of the YouTuber.
Sure.
So it's really interesting. That's part of why I'm so like, I am Quinta Brunson's biggest fan, I think, because I love that she was able to make the jump from an associate producer and like talent on BuzzFeed, which I believe and then she became like, and I think she was also like directing and like she was doing a bunch of stuff at BuzzFeed, to making the jump to making Abbott Elementary an Emmy, like her first show is Emmy Award winning.
Right.
Like that's insane. That's so cool. Like I love watching like YouTube people kind of like very clearly become what they wanted their thing to be.
Yeah, and then Smosh made a movie titled The Smosh Movie.
Actually, it was called Smosh the Movie.
Smosh
Get it
the
right.
Movie.
I got YouTube Red to watch Smosh the Movie, and I'm not
watched
even kidding.
Ghostmates.
Ghostmates was. The sad thing was how good Ghostmates could have been. Anthony and Ian, I love you so much, and I watch Smosh literally every day. Ghostmates could have been good. You guys should remake it. I'm looking in the eyes so that you guys say, because I know you're watching.
That's not what penultimately means. There's a deep cut. Fuck your eye, Jessi.
No, dude, it's been really funny because I've only just recently gotten back into Smosh.
Sure.
Because I watched, obviously, OG Smosh. I was the prime age. I know that like Smosh is a whole joke about like there's a whole joke of like the Smosh fandom about like, oh, like making giggles for 8-year-olds. And it's like, yeah, like their stuff isn't for kids. Like it's very, and even back then it wasn't, because I learned more rape jokes watching early Smosh than I think anything else, because it was the time. Like you have to remember, it was like 2010. It's just what you did.
Yeah.
Pedo Bear was like the number one meme. You don't have no clue what Pedo Bear is, do you? There we go. I have to get one. No, Pedo Bear was like literally just this little like Japanese bear that was running forward. But everyone called him Pedo Bear because you remember Impact text memes where it was like with the swirls. Yeah, it would always be like Pedo Bear is coming for you, like Pedo Bear's coming for your kids, because it was around the same time that like hide your kids, hide your wives was like big. Like it was an entirely separate culture, truly. No, but I watched them for a really long time. I watched them until I want to say I watched them from like Pokemon in Real Life 1, which is like a pretty deep cut, to this is like an entirely Smosh related timeline. So you're not gonna have, there's no years here. This is entirely, but like from like Pokemon in Real Life 1 to when Smosh games became more than Ian, Anthony, Sohinki, Lasercorn, and Jovenshire and Mari. Sorry, I just had to like go into my mind palace to
collect all the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, for real. All my Clever Games crossover people. Because that was what they were. Because at the time, that was why they came over. Is it was like they were all from Clever Games, and they all came over to Smosh from that. Because Clever, do you remember Clever at all? Yeah, that was a huge thing. That was like a media reporting thing. That was like an online, like Clever Games talked a lot about like what games were coming out, what to expect. It was a lot of, white guys standing in front of a green screen while gameplay's behind them talking about the new releases. That was usually Clever Games.
I hate that era where there's like the weird motion graphics.
Yeah, but it was
all like.
Yeah, but it was also it was cool.
Yeah,
I know
at
cool.
the time.
At the time,
cool.
every time I saw that, I was like, yo. No, but then I just picked it up. They started showing up again in my For You page like a month before Anthony announced he was coming back.
They knew.
So,
they're like, hey.
Yeah, so I came back like just in time. Like I started, because I hate to admit it, Ian and Anthony don't watch this part. I don't watch Main Channel as much.
Sure.
Ian and Anthony don't watch this part. Like they're obviously watching.
They do.
No, but mostly just because I don't really enjoy. I'm not a huge fan of sketch comedy, which sounds bad saying I was just talking about how much I enjoy SNL,
Right.
but like there's something about like it makes me feel like I'm 10 years old again. It's literally nothing against sketch comedy. It's not it. It's me.
Yeah.
Like for real. I feel the same way about watching like very specific YouTubers in general. Like it just feels I don't know. But I started watching like Smosh Pit, Smosh Games, like all of that again because they produce a lot of like variety like content that I really enjoy. And then they announced Anthony was coming back and I was like and then I had to catch up on like I think it was 6 years. I stopped watching right about when Anthony left.
There we go.
That was it. I was trying to think about it. I was like, no, that's a really good way to put it that other people will actually get. It was right about when Anthony left because that was right before I stopped watching like a couple of months before Anthony left.
And I was in 6th grade.
And you were in middle school.
You're going to get used to like, you're going to start to understand.
I'm never going to
No,
get
you
used
will
to
though.
it.
You will though. Because every little year you say, you're going to start to, you're not going to like memorize it, but you're going to get a better feel and less shock value when I say them.
See, the thing is that I always forget that you're 4 years younger than me. That's what throws me off is that I forget that I came back to a community college campus after I graduated from that campus and then took a gap year but I returned to finish my degree. So I'm just like older than everyone else here.
Yeah. Right.
Like that was part of why I got along so well with like the 35-year-old guys that we would have in our class. Because I was like, oh yeah, I have more, like you guys know what working full time is like. you guys have had to pay like bills. But I have any bills to pay right now. The only bills I pay right now are subscription services.
YouTube Premium.
Yeah. I don't even pay that. My dad still pays for that because I am just not mentioning how many things are still on his credit card.
Sure.
As long as it doesn't, he keeps saying it doesn't bother him. So as long as his monthly payments don't bother him, I'm not going to say anything.
Malicious compliance, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't bother you?
It's not even malicious compliance because it's not like he's ever looked at me and been like, I need to know like what I can get. But he's definitely, if it actually bugged him, he would come to me.
Sure.
Because there was definitely a point in my life where my dad had to come up to me and be like, do you still need your Club Penguin membership?
And you're like,
and I was like, yes. Do you still need your Wizard 101 membership? Because that was my thing. Was my dad was so willing to pay for like the monthly memberships for free to play games because I always preferred them to buying. Like, I would always rather play like Wizard 101 for hours and hours and hours and hours than any game that he would buy for me to have on the computer.
Sure.
Because I had like Blast from the Past. Do you even know what do you know what the Nickelodeon Splat Pack is?
Nope.
This Nickelodeon
Sounds gross.
It was great.
Sounds
actually.
18 plus.
Well, it was 2000.
Yeah.
It was the height of the Nickelodeon slime branding.
Mm-hmm.
So the Nickelodeon Splat Pack was a pack of CD-ROM games. It was two SpongeBob games, a Jimmy Neutron game, a Danny Phantom game. Like, it was like that era. It was like the Nicktoons that I grew up watching. And it was just the tunes. It wasn't any of because the live action stuff hadn't really started yet at that point,
right.
to give you an idea. But it had, I played that, and I played Wizard 101, and I played Club Penguin. I played a lot of online stuff, and that was all of my PC gaming for the most part until I hit like 13 and discovered GTA.
Right.
And then I got Vice City was my first GTA, my first Grand Theft Auto game. Such a good one. Such a good one. Vice City's the one that's in Miami. So you're playing. So it's very like Miami Vice coded, where you're like this. My favorite thing was that you were a guy in like a Hawaiian shirt the whole time. There's like a white guy in a Hawaiian shirt doing a bunch of work for all the gangs in Miami. Like it was I brought that to my karate classes when I was a kid, because my dad had an adult karate class right after I had my kids class. So I would always bring something to do, because me and like the other kids would play like 3DS. Like we'd be sitting back there playing games. So one day I brought my laptop and we played Grand Theft Auto together. And that was sick. I was the coolest kid at the karate class that day.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering.
I love the meme of the people who are able to map like Los Angeles because of GTA 5. That's so fun. They get to Santa Monica Pier and they're like,
have you seen that tweet where it's like I sent my dad a picture of me at Santa Monica Pier and he sent me back a picture of his GTA character in the same spot?
I didn't see the tweet, but yeah.
I think about that a lot, because that's absolutely something I would do. Like but I used to play GTA 5 so much. Like when it first came out, I played it constantly. Like a concerning amount. I probably would have been able to walk around the streets of LA. Right. Because I knew I wouldn't have known where any of the actual businesses were, but I would have known like what neighborhood I was in. And if you told me like approximately where I needed to get to, I probably could have figured it out with a map. Like it was bad. I
never had any GTA because like we only had a Wii and a Wii U.
Yeah, see.
There's no real way to play it. Couldn't have on my computer. I was gonna say could have, but no, the graphics were so bad.
See, I never really cared about graphics. I never really have.
Oh, when you're a kid, it doesn't exist.
Well, no, and like even
you
now,
can run at 10 frames per second when you're a kid, and you're just like having a blast.
Well, like even now, like everyone's always like, "Oh, like I don't want to play this game because the graphics are bad," and I'm like, "Why would that stop you from playing a game? That would never stop." Like I've never been stopped by graphics. The only game I've ever stopped playing because of the graphics was I can't make it through any of the Call of Duty campaigns because everything looks the same to me. Because I don't have that like years of Call of Duty knowledge to go back on now. So like a lot of they expect you to have like kind of a functional memory of like previous games and like what to expect, and I don't have any of that because I just never really played Call of Duty. Wasn't anything against it. I never really played any first person shooters until I started dating my boyfriend. So not until I met Ace in 2016, and even then we didn't start playing FPS games together until when did Overwatch come out?
Maybe 2017?
Like 2018, 2017?
Something like that.
Yeah. Because Overwatch was the first like FPS game that I really got into. I got so into Overwatch, which is back when you still had to like buy it.
Right.
Before Overwatch 2. Like I bought a physical copy of Overwatch and I learned it on my Xbox. And then I liked it so much that I bought it again for my PC.
Wow.
I was so Overwatch pilled, dude. I was a diva main, which means I was really awful to play with. I played exclusively Diva, Junkrat, and Lucio I'm so sorry to anyone I played with in Overwatch. Because I was the worst. I was a menace, and the worst part was that I didn't care. So I never took the game seriously. Yeah. And once I got a headset, it was Jover. Once I got a headset, and me and Ethan one of my friends, he's a guy that I used to play a lot of games with, and now we're both adults, so it's harder to. But and by we're both adults, I mean I just don't play as many games anymore. And but him and I used to play constantly because our favorite thing to do was to join comp matches and throw.
Mm-hmm.
but not like in an obvious way where we were like just like running off a bridge or something. We would be like, we would go, and then as soon as someone would piss us off on our team, we would throw.
Right.
Because I would always go in with my mic on, and as soon as they would be like, "Ha, woman," nope, you don't get to win
freeze.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, we would still play. We just wouldn't win. We'd be running into the heat of battle, trying to die. Like we wouldn't. We'd see how long we could make it just by punching. Like we would start putting like that's what I mean by throwing was we'd be setting like challenges for ourselves. Like, yeah, you can now because they said we don't want any bitches on our team. I'm only gonna fire when I'm standing still as diva. Have fun. Like I'm a turret now.
Right.
Like stuff like that. But that's also because Ethan and I are both big like it's only game. Why you have to be mad? It's only game. Like because we're also both this sounds bad. We're both talented enough to get all the SR back that we lost. Like
right.
Like so we never minded throwing, and we knew that our like massive dip in SR was always gonna be so much worse than anyone that we threw for. That we really were just like, whatever, it's Overwatch. Why do you care that it's a game?
Right.
We used to be like, do you have bills to pay? Yeah. Then why do you care about Overwatch?
Once you're at that point, it's like,
you have kids? Yeah. Why do you care about Overwatch? That was one thing. There was one time there was a guy whose baby was crying in the background. Like you could hear a baby crying. And so we spent the whole game going, your baby needs to be fed. You should go hang out with your babe. You should hang out with your baby. Does your wife need help? Your wife need help? Why are you sitting here playing games? Your kid's crying. Is that even your kid? Why do you have a kid crying in your house? Like, so like but we considered ourselves vigilantes because we didn't do that. Like I said, we didn't do that usually until either we'd had enough games in a row that pissed us off that we needed to let off steam and we didn't want to switch over to casual. Or we were or like I'd had because it was so constant, like as soon as I would say something, people would be like, women can't play video games, why don't you just leave now? Oh, you die. Like, and then every time I die it's like, oh, women suck, women can't play video, whatever. So it became like it became a defense mechanism literally, because it was because then we started getting, it became so bad when we would be 5 or 6 stacking in Overwatch. So we would have like a full team and we'd still be doing that. But what we would do is we'd wait for the other team to start sending us messages, and then we wouldn't be trying to win anymore. Like we don't care about winning. We just want to annoy them as much as possible. Right. So we're doing like all of like the most, nothing that's actually helping us win, but just like pushing them back just to keep them off. Like like even if they're winning, like we just like put one little step of foot on there. Like, just trying to be annoying. Because we're like, as soon as people start being rude to us, we're like, we're not. It's a game. Bless you.
Go on.
You sounded so. Are you good?
Oh my god. Okay.
That was like a lot for you.
That was one of my most powerful sneezes in years. At least.
So, your nose pierce, is your nose jewelry still in there? Like, you good?
God.
No, I make fun of Ace a lot because he is this like very specific breed of guy that I didn't really meet until I like was an adult, that doesn't sneeze ever, but when they do sneeze, you can like see it because it's like so like it's like, this sounds gross because it's not like snot. It's just like you can see the force of the air moving because he's sneezing out like from like the back of his sinuses. And it's really funny because every time he does that, have you ever seen those videos that are like what airbending would look like, what airbending from The Last Airbender would actually look like in real life? Because technically, so in the canon of Avatar: The Last Airbender, even though we as the viewers, because it's an animated show, can see the airbending that he's doing, like, all that, in canon they can't see that. Sure. It's because it's air moving, right? So a lot of people theorize that, like, what airbending would actually look like in live action that isn't directed by M. Night Shyamalan would be like, when you're watching like an explosion and you can see like the force, like, and it's not like an actual movement, but you can just see like the ripple. Yeah, that's what it looks like when he sneezes. That's crazy. And I'm not like, it doesn't have like the intense ripple, but you can see like the you can see the water droplets like from his, like from the air and from his nose, like you can see it all. You can see the movement of the air, and you can always tell that, like, I can always tell that it's like from like the back of his sinuses because it's loud and it's heavy, and afterwards he's like, his voice has a different quality. Like, it legitimately sounds a little better because he just doesn't sneeze. He never has a runny nose. He doesn't sneeze, doesn't do anything. But when he does, he's like, it's everything that he needs to get out. And he only sneezes once, and then he's fine. And I'm like, I wish I sneeze all the time. My sneezes are so little. I have to see. There's been times where Ace has gotten actually worried because I've sneezed like 4 or 5 times in a row because I have allergies. So of course I do. And it's like, why can't I just sneeze once and get it over with?
Right.
My chest hurts. Chris doesn't help to have, smoker lungs, but that's half from secondhand smoke.
Right. At least. Hey, take what you can get.
I grew up before what is it? I grew up when smoking sections were still a thing. Do you remember smoking sections?
Loosely, roughly. What do you mean, like
in restaurants? Like, do you remember when you would go into a family restaurant and they would be like, oh, smoking or non-smoking?
Oh no, I don't have that.
Yeah, no, that's like I remember how mad my mom was when they outlawed smoking inside in I think it was 2008. Because not to put too fine a point on it, my parents got divorced in 2007. So that might have been part of it. But or 2006 or 2007. So them banning cigarettes indoors in 2008 was not great for my mother. Right. But she was mad because she was like, well, they're also banning it in bars. And she's like, and kids shouldn't even be at bars. If people are bringing their kids to bars and they're exposing their kids to smoke, that's like their choice. Mind you, I was one of the kids at bars who had asthma and would constantly tell my mom that I didn't want to sit in the smoking section because it made me cough. And it wasn't that like that makes her sound really bad. I don't mean that as like like my mom was going in, like she wasn't, that was just normal. Kids just did that. You went in there and it was you and 3 other kids in the smoking section all like all of you guys were getting that secondhand smoke in an enclosed space because it's extra enclosed because most of the smoking sections had to be separated. Right. There's a cafe downtown by the library that they still have their whole smoking section intact to the point they still have the door. Because it used to be that it was the way that place works is that they have the main that's open to the front door and everything. And then they have an addition on that they built where there's a full wall here that has an entire closing door with a knob. And then there's another section that's divided by glass in this wall. And that used to be the smoking section because that's what you used to have to do. Perkins used to have smoking sections. Cracker Barrel had smoking sections when my mom first started working there. Pretty much everywhere did. Most, you can kind of tell how old the building is around here by whether it still has a smoking section built in. That's also why a lot of the bars around here still have, on their actual bars and in their tables, they just have built-in, ashtrays. Because everyone was coming in, sitting at the bar, smoking a cigarette, drinking their beer after work. It was just what you did. It's
like the Starbucks that have the wireless chargers.
Yeah.
It's like those are built into the table, and that's that version of that.
Yeah, it's the infinitely worse version of that. It's the cancer version of that, literally.
There was a Nathan For You bit where he technically, I think it might just be in California, it might just be U.S., where smoking is allowed in a building if it's part of a theater production. So I think that's in the U.S. You're allowed to smoke for as long as a production and everyone on stage is of legal age to smoke. Yes. So what he did was, if this whole table was like a bar, he like in a small bar too, he curtained off this section and had 6 seats, and so he invited people to a show called Smoking Aloud, and so everyone in the bar was just smoking, but he convinced these audience members that this was a play, you got to go out and see this.
Oh, yeah.
And they thought it was some sort of epic theater type of thing, so they were like, it was really good, I liked it a lot. And so then the rest of the episode is he reviews all the security camera footage and the TV network footage, and he scripts out every movement and everything people say, and he's like, why did this show work so well the first time? And he hires all these actors that are lookalikes and goes through this entire rehearsal process and then gets a new audience, but it's the families of the people in the show, so they're like, yeah, I don't really get it, and it didn't hit the second time. It was really funny, but it was. I love Nathan For You. You gotta check that shit out. HBO Max.
HBO Max, please sponsor us. I'm begging you. I guess
code.
Now it's just called Max because it's not owned.
Max, the everything app.
Yeah. Dude, you know what threw me off?
What?
Like really bad. Literally like yesterday. I was scrolling. I have Disney Plus because I love Disney movies. I know there's like a pressure like boycott on Disney Plus, but unlike Disney, it's not even that. I don't pay for. My dad pays for it, and him and my uncle use Disney Plus way more than I do. So I just use it to watch Bluey, and I call it a day.
I'm innocent. Like, I'm not supporting anything bad.
I'm like, I feel bad. Like I feel like I have to asterisk a lot of stuff, but it's like it's because I live with my family and I don't pay most of my own bills, so I can't argue with people about where we go to eat and what we like. I just don't support it as much as I can avoid it. Which is why I watch Bluey on Disney Plus because that's not even Disney.
Right.
No, but I was scrolling through Disney Plus because I was trying to find something that one of the kids at church told me that they wanted me to watch because I try to watch a lot of the stuff the kids are watching so I can, talk about it with them. They love knowing that I'm watching. They think it's so cool that I watch like kid shows for them. Like whatever. That was why I started watching Bluey. And I found out. Do you know you can watch Saw 1 through 7 on Disney Plus now?
Because of Hulu?
Yeah, because the Hulu merger.
Yeah.
And I also think it's funny because my dad and I are paying for Hulu and Disney Plus right now.
Oh.
Because every time we've tried to merge our accounts, they just go, mm-mm.
Yeah, they don't like merging. But you can, if you upgrade your Disney Plus to a Disney Plus Hulu bundle, they make you a new Hulu account.
Yeah, but I don't
which
want
is
a new
like
Hulu.
shitty.
I don't want to restart I had to explain it to my dad. He was like, why don't we just get a new one? I was like, do you know how curated we've made this over, because we've had Hulu for a couple of years now. I'm like, do you know how curated this is to us now? And I logged out of ours and I made a new account and like, just got like a free trial and I logged into it and I showed him, I was like, this is what the homepage looks like now. And he's like, what? I was like,
where
yeah.
are all the things I want to watch?
Yeah, exactly.
Based on my viewing habits for the past 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because we got Hulu. Hulu was the first one that we got after Netflix. Because it used to be like in the way back when, right? It was just Hulu and Netflix.
Oh yeah, green versus red.
Yeah. And we
Luke
had both.
versus Vader.
Yeah, and we had both so that we could have all the shows and movies that we wanted. And now as time has gone on, we've gotten like Disney Plus because we have technically we have Amazon Prime Video because we just pay for Amazon Prime. Like that one doesn't come. Yeah, that one doesn't count.
Yeah, I'm watching The Tomorrow War starring Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I'm half of the stuff. You know what I hate about Amazon Prime Video?
What?
Why is like everything on in a rental?
Yeah.
Like they don't tell you what. Like
you
they don't
search
tell
for the
you.
movie and then they're like, oh, it's here. Oh, it's here.
Rent it for
Rent or buy
$50. Yeah.
Rent or buy it.
Yeah, it's like no, that's not what I'm looking for. No, but so we just have that by proxy. We got Disney Plus because we are a Disney family. Like
Sure.
I grew up watching Disney movies, Disney Channel. When my dad got his master's degree in 2010, we celebrated by going to Disney World.
Yeah.
Partly because my dad felt bad that he and my mom got divorced, and then he spent no time with me for 4 years while he got a master's degree. Because he was doing it online.
Right.
So it was go to work, work a full shift at a factory, come home, sit in front of the computer to do your schoolwork. Because my dad got a master's in accounting. My dad's a very smart man. My dad's a very, very smart man. I love my dad. Because he's like math brain, which is not. I am not math brain. I was not built for STEM. I was built for humanities. You guys learned that last week. You heard me ramble about movies. No, but he's always been like every time I've needed a math tutor, like he's always been the guy for me. He's always been my friend's math tutors because he's so nice. My dad's so smart, and it's really funny that he was like, yeah, we're gonna go to Disney World to celebrate my master's degree because I haven't spent a lot of time with you, and I feel bad. Like, thanks, Dad. Dad's guilt money. No, but and my uncle and my aunt go on their sibling trip to Disney World usually. Well, they go down to Orlando and they go to like Disney World and Universal.
Yeah.
Because they like the rides.
That's what my brother's doing right now.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's with his girlfriend.
I can't imagine going to Disney World in 2024. Not because like boycott reasons, but just because it sucks.
Super Bowl Sunday. Least busy day of the year.
That's fair. No, that's real.
We go. Super Bowl Sunday 2025, you and me. We make our
yeah, but I don't want to have
podcast money.
No, but it's so different. Like you have to remember the last time I went to Disney World was when they first brought in the Fast Pass system and you still had to go and get a physical Fast Pass ticket. Like that was
now it's on your phone. And it's called Lightning Lane.
No, now it's called because you have.
Now it's called Genie Plus.
Yeah, you have to get
featuring
Genie Plus
Lightning
featuring
Lane.
Lightning Lane. Yeah, no, it's stupid and I hate it because you know, when I was a kid, and they're also like getting rid of all the walk around like stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so much stuff that when I was a kid, like they had people that were like walking around, people that were dancing in the parades, whatever. And so many of those people just aren't there anymore, which is crazy when you consider how focused they are on like.
Hold on.
Sticking people in lines.
One of these cameras beeped and I don't know why.
Uh-oh.
I recognize it's like you hear your own baby cry.
Yeah.
I know something's up.
I have headphones on, so I don't know. Oh yeah, you guys.
We reached the end of an SD card.
Oh no.
That's not good.
Welcome back. We had a technical difficulty.
This one's got a 32 gigabyte SD card. That one, the that one, has a 16 gigabyte. I can't find a second 32 gigabyte. I ordered two 64 gigabyte SD cards off of Temu. I'm gonna get all my information stolen.
Yeah, you're gonna get like.
We're okay.
They're gonna steal 16 gigabytes of your personal information and nothing else.
Well,
it's gonna get directly mainlined into an AI center in like the Philippines.
The things we do for content.
The things we do for content. No, but so I think we legally have to call it now that one of our cameras is down.
You say that every time. Did you know that?
Do I?
You say we legally have to call it.
I don't mean to.
With that, we legally.
I just love saying.
Yeah.
I love saying that. I love being dramatic. There's nothing I love more than being dramatic. I don't know if you've noticed.
I accidentally no-clipped. Hold on.
Oh, man. All right. So we are going to call it there. We're going to try this again next week with hopefully less technical difficulties, but we'll see.
With Temu SD cards.
Yeah, with hopefully Temu SD cards. We'll see how long they take to show up. Because it is Temu. So you
ordered them last Thursday.
There you go. So we have a 50-50 shot of them showing up like in the next week and in 6 months.
No. Temu's good. Temu's 3-week guarantee.
Like
they give you $5 if it doesn't come in their delivery window.
I just know that Temu steals a lot of personal. I just
Temu.
know that allegedly Temu steals a lot of personal information. So I personally don't use it, but I also use Shein, so I can't.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't use Shein. I use Romwe, but that's basically just Shein in another package. But I use Romwe very sparingly, so it doesn't count. It doesn't count. All right, we will catch you guys next week with more tomfoolery and buffoonery, quite probably.